Alright, hello. Welcome to Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition. So this is a Let's Play that I've been thinking about doing for a while now. I really like Dark Souls. I've beaten it once. I've been messing around on New Game Plus a little bit, but I've been thinking about doing a Let's Play of it for a while, and I couldn't decide if I wanted to or not, because I was like, well, I'm okay at the game, you know, I'm not amazing at it, but I'm not horrible at it. But, you know, either way, it's gonna be like a gazillion episodes. But I was like, you know what? Whatever, let's play some Dark Souls. And we're gonna start a new character. Alright, and the first thing we gotta do is come up with a name for our character. So, what should we name him? Is there a character limit? Okay, that's the character limit. You know what? I don't know why I had to think about this so long. I had the perfect name for my Dark Souls character. Jiope. Alright, and Jiope is male, obviously. Class. No, actually, Knight. Jiope the Knight. And his gift. Let's do... Sure, we'll do the Tiny Beings ring. Why not? Physique, and he is going to be... yeah, he's gonna be very slim. God, you know, this guy looks like a goddamn, Oblivion character. You know, I'm gonna go with this guy. Hair. I really like his chin. We'll go with a, hmm, I like receding. I like receding. This doesn't really matter too much to me. Sure. Um. Okay. Perfect. All right, there's Jiope. Let's do this.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arched trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty gods peeled apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath, the Scaleless, betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
I gotta say, our character looked really good in that cutscene. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that nose. Alright, anyway. So yeah, welcome to Dark Souls. We are Jiope, and we have a little broken knife, sword thing. And that's it. That's all we have. It's been a long time since I've started the game over. Alright. But yes, this is Dark Souls. I'm sure you've all seen this game. I'm sure you've all heard of it. It's the hardest game in the world, according to the internet and bad review sites. Personally, I do not think this is the hardest game in the world. I don't know what I would consider the hardest game in the world. I'm not really sure, but this is not it. Dark Souls, to me, is a game about patience. As long as you're patient, you don't let you don't let yourself get angry or frustrated, and you attack when you have the chance, and then when you need to, you block or you dodge or whatever you need to do. Dark Souls is only hard for me when I'm being impatient. Well, I mean, it's hard for me when I'm being patient, but I mean, it only feels hard when I'm being... I don't really know how to explain it, but basically what I'm trying to say is patience is the key to Dark Souls. But do I think it's a hard game? Yes, I do. I don't think it's the hardest game in the world, but yes, it is harder than most games that come out today. And the thing is, I have beat Dark Souls, but I have not beat, most of the games on the NES's library that I have played. I have not beaten. I've beaten the first Zelda, I've beaten Mega Man 1 and 2. But I haven't beaten Ninja Gaiden, and those are NES games from a long time ago. But I think, in my opinion, I'd much rather play Dark Souls. So yeah, I think it is a challenging game, and I think it can be very hard. But I don't think it is the hardest game in the world. And I think a lot of players who are sort of new to JRPGs, I guess action RPGs really, because this game is, I would consider, a Japanese role-playing game, or Japanese action role-playing game, but it was very, very, very well marketed in the West, or America, Europe, whatever, but it was very, very well marketed towards us. I think that, to my knowledge, Dark Souls sold better than most JRPGs tend to sell in America. and Europe regions. So I think that massive popularity, that and YouTubers and stuff, really increased its popularity, gave Dark Souls a reputation of being a very hard game, which, well, it is a hard game, but being a harder game than it needed to be. Hello. Because a lot of new players were trying it out. They're like, oh yeah, my so-and-so played this on YouTube, I really want to check it out. It's apparently it's super hard. So they'd buy it and play it, and they would get killed in the first boss battle, and then they would put the game down and never play it again, and they would go online and be like, yeah, Dark Souls is the hardest game I've ever played. I mean, maybe that isn't what happened, but I feel like that's what happened. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting about that for now and just enjoy the game. So yeah, this is the Undead Asylum. This is where we start. Our character is like a zombie, I guess you could say, with intelligence. But yeah, we are undead, and we have a curse, I guess you could say, called the Dark Sign, which brands us, and it's an item you can use to return to a bonfire, but you lose your... I've never used it once. If I wanted to return to a bonfire and lose my humanity and souls, I would just die. But we have a quest. Well, we don't have a quest right now. Our quest right now is to escape the Undead Asylum, because a knight dropped a dead body down in our cell. Because in the land of Dark Souls, when people die, they turn undead. At least to my knowledge. Now, I might be wrong about this. And so they gathered up the undead and brought them here, because most people, not everyone, like our character, but a lot of people lose their minds when they turn undead. They turn into zombies, like the people I'm fighting. Or they're brainless. But not everybody does lose their minds when they're undead. Like my character, he is still sane. But they didn't know, like, my assumption is they didn't know that when they brought my character here. Anyway, so they bring the dead here to sort of just await, well, they bring the dead here to await the end of the world. The zombies, or whatever you want to call them, just live here until the world ends. At least they're supposed to, but my character is a little bit different, and there's a couple other undead who are different. They don't lose their minds like the rest of them. But this area serves the tutorial for the game. That's why there's all the instructions on how to play right here. I tried to get out of the way, but oh well. So here we have, I think this is the knight who dropped the body down in our cell.
Oh, you're no Hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I are both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family: thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringest the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know, and I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite. Oh, and this. Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Alright, so he just gave us the Estus Flask, which is an item you use to heal. It's your primary healing item in Dark Souls. We get 5 of them for now, and whenever you rest at a bonfire, you get them refreshed. The only way to get them back is resting at a bonfire. And if somehow you don't know how Dark Souls work, you might think, well, what's the big deal? Resting at a bonfire doesn't seem like that big of a deal to get your healing items back. The problem is resting at bonfires also brings all the enemies you've killed back to life, with the exception of a few rare enemies that stay dead, and bosses. So, like, if I go rest at this bonfire, which I'm not going to, I don't have any reason to, all of the zombie guys that I killed in there and up there will respawn. And, like, the ball that rolled down here, it'll be back up at the top. And so, a lot of stuff resets when you rest at a bonfire. But resting at a bonfire heals your character full. It also creates a checkpoint. When you die, you start at the last bonfire you rested at. And it restores your Estus Flasks and magic and stuff like that when you get that. Alright. Now, when we kill enemies, there's a little sound plays, and then there's a little plus 20, or whatever, plus any number in the bottom right corner. Those are souls. Those double as experience points and money. You use them to level up your character and to buy items and gear. And like I said, it's all about patience. Like, I could hit this guy twice, but then the second hit would leave me with less stamina, and I would be in a position to be hit. So if I'm just patient, hit him once and then block, I can stay alive. So I don't know if I'm gonna beat this on my first try, but through this fog, there are fog doors every now and then, and the reason they're there is because you don't know your first time playing, you don't know if there's going to be a boss on the other side or not. If there is a boss on the other side, you can't pass back through. But sometimes there's fog with no boss on the other side, and once you pass through, it disappears permanently. Anyway, on the other side of this is that demon we saw earlier that I ran away from. Except this time we're not going to be able to run away from him, we have to fight him or die, so... It's been a while since I've been this weak, so let's see how I do. Hey, I got a critical hit on him. That was pretty cool. Alright. Well, that was a good start to the boss fight, actually. My recommendation for this guy is to just stay on his ass. But don't let him sit on you. And watch out for his big club. Now I'm using my light attack right now. There is a heavier attack with right trigger that does more damage. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna heal. Yeah, there is a heavier attack that does more damage, but it has a slower build-up. And it leaves you wide open, so it works good on some enemies and bosses, and then on others not so much. So it's up to your discretion, really. Come on, let me get up your butt. Hit you in the knee. And there we go. That's our first boss. Victory achieved. We got the big pilgrim's key. And as you can see, the door opened. So, like I said, once you encounter a boss, you cannot leave the area until you either die or beat the boss. Now I'm going to rest, because resting after beating a boss is always a good time. because I get my Estus flasks back, and now we can go through this door. This game came out back on the 360. I don't remember when, like 2011, something like that. I think this game has pretty good graphics, and when I first played this game, I was under the wrong impression. I expected it to be very hard. I expected it to be not open world. I didn't realize the game was going to be open world. It's been a couple of years now since I first played Dark Souls, and I actually grew to really, really like this game. Not only does it have good graphics for the time, the world is really fun to explore. It's a big open world, and this doesn't really feel like the kind of game to be open world, but it is. I don't know. I really like it. Anyway, I'm just looking around a little bit, letting you see some of the scenery. I just want to check something real quick. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure anti-aliasing was off because I'm using a mod called DS Fix, or Dark Souls Fix, which allows me to control the graphics more like other PC games with more control over it. And so I have anti-aliasing on in those settings, and if you have anti-aliasing on in those settings and the in-game settings, it causes a glitch, so I had to make sure I had it off. But yeah, so I have the game's internal resolution upscaled to 1080p. The window is 720, but the internal resolution is upscaled to 1080p. Anyway, so we just finished the first area of the game. It's time to move on to the actual main world.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran